Hey, welcome everybody back to another portion of the Skills USA Robotics and Automation Contest. One of the things that we have to do is to be able to set a metal cube on the conveyor belt and then have the conveyor belt run down to the end of the conveyor belt, which is the motor end. And you'll notice there's a sensor that's placed right here at the back. I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to point the sensor out to you. So we've got the camera set up so that this is the sensor right here, and it is connected to input number 7 on our robot. So once the cube gets to this position, we're going to lose the light and lose the input on the robotic controller, and we're going to use that to our advantage then to be able to shut off the conveyor belt. So we're going to write that formula. Also, if you look in the background, you have the control box with all of our lighting equipment and horns, e-stop button. Our e-stop button is still functional. You see that we have the light and shut off when we stop the e-stop button. And what we've added is that anytime the conveyor belt is on, we want another color other than these two. So I've chosen yellow. I grabbed this from our robotics program, and you saw me install that the other day. And I also installed another little horn down here. Now this is just a buzzer, but we wanted both lighting and alarm to come on while the conveyor belt was running. And we've just, I guess we're overbuilding this, but we're going to make this work today. So the buzzer that we've ran through the logo controller, in which we'll do, a part 3 here, or, part 2 of this one, where we'll see the buzzer get programmed, and then we'll come back to this original piece that you see right now, because I can't take the computer offline to program the logo and then still have the camera. So we'll do that in a series of steps where we program the logo after we get done here. So right now we're going to program just the robot to turn the conveyor belt on and off, along with having the light go on and off. And then this light also sends an input to the logo, so they'll be working together in terms then of having this buzzer come on. But we want to set it up, though, that the buzzer comes on intermittently. We don't want to have a steady tone. We want it to go on and off, and we have a really nice frequency generator that we can do that with the logo. So let's go ahead and start it, and let's do this first part of just getting the conveyor belt to stop and the light to come on, and when it reaches the sensor at the end, the conveyor belt will stop. So we're going to need a couple labels. Remember that anytime that you start with the robot program, you want to run it in the Pro condition so that we have all of these pieces available to us. And we also want to make sure that you home the robot. Now I've already done that, so the robot is good to go. But we're not so much concerned about the robot today as we are about writing a series that we can interject and add and take notes on how we might add this to our big program, so that when the defect sensor gets through with its business and discovers that this cube's a good one, we move it over to the proximity sensor, and it says, hey, this is a metal cube. We want the metal cube then to go on the conveyor belt, the conveyor belt to turn on the same time the yellow light, and we also want the buzzer to be on intermittently, and then when it hits the sensor at the end, we want everything to stop. Conveyor to stop, light to stop, buzzer to stop. So let's start with our robot programming right now. So we're going to start with a label, because we need a label at the top for it to jump back to, and we're going to use the word run. So we're going to start with a label, and that LA label is going to be the word run, because we want this program to repeat itself and double back on itself the whole time that it's running, and additionally then to be able to turn things back on and off. So our conveyor belt is under the access control, and we can start the conveyor belt, and our conveyor belt is the number 8 axis, and we want to run our speed a little bit slower so that the conveyor belt moves slow enough that when this continues to rotate and repeat itself and fold in on itself, that it continues to look for that input number 7 to be off, to make it a true statement. Well, I discovered to get it into the minus condition, that is the one that runs towards the motor end of the conveyor belt, so we're going to set it up like that. We also want to turn on one of our outputs, and you saw me connect the yellow light to output number 1. So let's go ahead and turn that output number 1, and we want it to be on. So watch the light in the background. When I do this, you'll see that the yellow light turns on, begins to flash, and at some point I'm going to have to turn it off, so I'm going to leave this run for now so we know that that's functioning. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want it to get to look for our input. So we have to have this true statement. So we want to have an if jump here. So what we're looking for is that light. So if input, oh, got the wrong one, if jump. Here we go. All right, so if input number 7 is off, because it's on right now, if it goes off, then we want it to run to our stop label. If it's still on, we want it to jump to run. Now remember that all of this is going to run faster. This is going to run faster than the conveyor belt is running. And we'll take that to our advantage. So if this is false, we need to get this back up here to the run condition. So let's have it jump to, no, jump to, there we go, to the run position. So we want it to continue to run and run and run and cycle back on itself. And then immediately when that cube gets down there to the sensor, it's going to be going slow enough that it'll sense this light was off. Now we want it to jump to the stop position. And let's do that label now, LA. We want it to jump to stop. And what do we want it to do at the stop position? We want to turn the conveyor belt. Number 8 is that axis. We want it to turn it off. And we want to turn off our light. Number 1. We want it to go to the off position. All right, so let's watch this work. So I have it queued up. Our light is still running, so that's going to keep going on. Just wanted to check to see if it goes. So this cube will run down to this end. It'll hit that sensor, and what we want to be able to do then is to be able to turn the conveyor off and turn that light off at the same time. So let's here it started at the top, and let's have it run through. So you're going to see it jumping on the screen. Continues to check for number 7. The minute it sees 7 is off, stops the conveyor belt, and turns the light off. Okay, well that was quick. Well, the other thing that we're going to need to do though is that we're going to have to I'm going to put the tape on pause, and I'm going to get set up for the logo controller, and we'll turn it back on so that you can see me program the logo on how this would all function. And then we'll come back, put the TV camera back on, and then we'll finish this up, because right now I have to take the PC offline to get my logo. So let me go ahead, and we are going to pause the video. Alright, so I have the logo machine set up. I have the Logosoft ready to go. What we want to do is, just as we've done in the past, we're going to go find the logo machine. We're going to upload its program so that we can add the horn or the buzzer that we want to run for the conveyor belt. The buzzer I have connected to input number 2, and the buzzer itself is on output number 7. So let's see if we can get it to work. So first thing I want to do is I want to go online and make sure that we can find the logo. There we have it. All of this stuff is getting pretty simple because we've done this so many times. Let's go see if we can talk to the logo. So let's run our test. It'll look down the line. First thing it'll do is say, hey, we got something with the IP address. Yeah, that's a good thing.